Go ahead.
Nelson asks, Bhante, I've been practicing for about 3 months according to the method in Buddhadasa's Anapanasati. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. A few days ago, though, while meditating, I noticed my heartbeat. I stopped counting my breaths and began to breathe in and out to counting my heartbeats. I have been doing this since and seem to experience a deeper and more stable concentration. Is this useful as a method, or do you think I am putting myself in a trance?
Well, trances are useful methods, no? I think, yeah, most likely you could call it a trance. It's really just a term, no? You call it a trance. It's a type of meditation. I like this kind of idea of the word, this kind of definition of the word jhana. Jhana means meditation. And I think that's great because it gives us a very open mind and allows us to say, well, you're practicing meditation. And from the sounds of it, it's good meditation. Why? How do we know that? Because you're gaining a good concentration. Your mind is probably free from liking, free from disliking, free from drowsiness, free from distraction, and free from doubt at the time that you're in it. So for sure, it's a good method. The question is, what's it good for? And that's a little more difficult to answer. These sort of trance or even states of calm are good on different levels. If you just stay in them, then well, they're only good for themselves, and they're good as a kind of an escape, something that you can go to when the going gets tough. You have some way to take a retreat, as they say, or find an escape. They can also be good for gaining special knowledges and magical powers. If you've ever really developed high states of concentration, you can see how your mind is able to expand and travel in different dimensions, you might say. I don't know what the right word is, but the mind is able to enter into states of reality that are inaccessible otherwise. But because you're asking me, and from a hardcore Buddhist point of view, they're only useful as an object of insight meditation. They're useful because your mind is very clear at that moment. So if you start taking that state as an object of insight meditation, and for example, as we said, saying to yourself, calm, calm, reflecting on it just as a state of calm that has arisen, that arises and ceases, and being aware of the mind that is aware of it, that also arises and ceases, being aware of the impermanence of it, which you're probably not able to see if you're focusing on it in terms of cultivating it. Focusing on the object of it, which is the breath or the heartbeat or so on, and focusing on that as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. Seeing these, letting go of your attachment to these things, the underlying ditti, mana, and tanha, the views that it is self, the conceit that it is good, and the tanha that of liking or disliking it, that it is your possession. These three things can't be cut simply by the development of concentration. So with the development of insight, you're able to overcome this, get rid of your views and your ideas about self and about control and so on. You're able to give up your conceit in terms of thinking yourself better because of it, or worse outside of it, or conceit in terms of it being me and mine and so on, my attainment. And tanha, your attachment to it in terms of it being good, in terms of it being desirable. And so once you can do that about any one thing in the universe and see clearly that because something arises, it therefore has to cease. Yang kinchi samudaya dhammang sabantang nirodha dhamma. Everything that arises has to cease. Then by extrapolation, you know that about the whole world. The mind instantly is clear that is the nature of reality. And when you get to that state, very briefly, this is a very brief explanation of the meditation practice. At that moment, the mind enters into the state of cessation. It leaves behind the world. And so it's therefore quite useful in terms of allowing you to enter into this state of cessation if you take it as an object of insight meditation. I don't know, Palanyan, you have anything to add?
Yes, don't have much to say about it, but I was told that to focus on the heartbeat is not beneficial because sometimes the heart can change its beat, and that can be very, very disturbing for people, and make them fear a lot, and have more fears coming up, and then lose all the calm and get very disturbed. And
I've heard that as well, but I don't know that I buy it. They say the same thing. Some centers say the same thing about the headaches. No, that it will get worse if you focus on it. I'm not. That sounds a little bit softcore to me. Okay, so let me ask you from your this is what you've heard from people.
yeah.
Would you not, as an experienced meditator, say that that's actually a good thing because it helps you to examine your fear and your
Yes.
attachment? So I've heard that as well, and that was one of the first things that went through my mind. But I think one point you might want to consider is if the heartbeat changes, it could theoretically cause a heart attack. So it is something that you want to be a little bit softcore about, in case the power of the mind, right?
But sometimes the heart just, some people have
heart
in regular
palpitation.
heartbeat or due to I don't know what, it changes sometimes, or
Impermanence.
even some heartbeat is missing. And so when these people start to meditate without
Right.
guidance and without knowing that heartbeat can be irregular, or there can, then it can be really fearful for them.
Well, you've raised indirectly a very good point, that the real problem is not which technique you're doing. The problem is not having a teacher, because it's not just the heartbeat. Everything you do, the chances of you giving rise to great states of fear and worry and eventually just giving up the practice because you don't know what to do next, and you feel like you've hit an impasse, something that is impossible to meditate with. The smallest things that a meditation teacher would just say, just it's that, and change your condition and set you on the next, like just as nothing, brush it aside, will stop a solitary meditator from continuing, because we can't see our own eyes without a mirror. We don't have the wisdom that allows us to see our own mind, to see what tricks we're playing on ourselves. So if you've stopped practicing Ajahn Buddhadasa's teachings, then you probably have a problem with following his books and his guidance, or at least a small problem. And considering that you've developed a technique that you have no teacher with, it can be good in the short term, but you have to consider the power of the mind and the power for it to lead us astray. This is one of the great things I was trying to bring, or we did bring out about Sumedha's story, is that the importance of having a teacher, because you can see how you trick yourself into many different things, and you realize that the mind is, as you said, you can't see your own eyes, and you can't see your own mind. Okay.